morning. Let me let this dog outside. Come on. Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Nobody is here because I didn't have it scheduled. Gosh darn it, I forgot to schedule one yesterday. There is somebody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I forgot to schedule one today. So, the voting just passed 100 million. Wow. Good morning, good morning. Hello, MJ. Any relation, MJ? Hello, Laurel. Hello, Diva Cat. Good morning, Sugar Mama. Hello, Diva Cat. Okay, yeah. People are here. Yay. Are we ready for today? Oh my goodness. We just passed 100 million. And that's mail-in. Isn't that mail-in, Jeremiah? Because the polls haven't opened yet. It's too early. The polls don't open until like 8, right? Named after my aunt and my uncle. Oh, how cool is that? Hi, Catherine Jones. Yeah. Some already opened at 7 a.m.? Some open at 7? Oh, that's great. I hope they stay open until... What time do they close? It's going to be hard for all of these people who are voting. Every single Republican is going to vote in person. So you know how long the lines are going to be to vote today? I bet there are some Republicans who get turned away from the polls because there isn't time. Hi, Kathy Jones. Nice to see you. Ohio, it's 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay, so, oh my God. We're going to have, that's why, we've already had 100 million people vote. 100 million people vote. And trumpets are all excited because they get 8,000, 10,000 people to show up to a rally. But 100 million people vote. So really, 10,000 people at a rally is nothing. Nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. Oh, yeah. Time to put some bake in my wake. Are we ready to do some bake in the wake? Are we going to do story time today? You want me to retell? So I left off at the end of 1977, so the only thing that I haven't talked about is the serial killer that started the year, but I started it. You can hang out till 7:30. Happy Dump Donnie Day. That's right. I think we can just chat about Election Day. I don't think we have to really necessarily do a story time unless you guys want a story time. I don't really have an Election Day story time. I don't. I have a cousin who ran for office once. She lost bigly. She lost bigly. But not before. She didn't lose before she spent $2,000 she fucking owes me on signage and shit. She sure didn't. Happy Dump Donnie. Happy Flush the Orange Turd. Happy Flush the Orange Turd Day. Orange Turd Flush Day. I am so excited too. I really am. I really am. I am so excited. I have an earbud in. I can't watch the screen. Boss doesn't like me on your phone. Okay, gotcha. That's fine. You can just listen to us. We may end up going back to TikTok. You're heading to vote now. Hey, great. I cannot stand this bullshit. That's amazing. Yay. You're excited as well. Good morning, Christina DeClore. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm going to quit singing. That's one thing I'm going to do for sure. I watched my video back from yesterday where you guys got me to sing. Actually, you didn't get me to sing. I sang on my own. I'm never doing that shit on video again. You're excited and nervous. 4 years. We have all been waiting for this for 4 years. This is more than just dump Trump Day. This is dump the Republican Party Day. This is flush the Republican Party down the toilet. That's what this day is. Flush the Republican Party who associated themselves with Donald Trump down the toilet. 4 years of hell. You felt better when you watched yesterday? Calmer? Yeah. Oh, I am just so hoping that that things go well. I'm running low on herb, though. I really am. I am running low on herbage. I am. The green thing? This thing? Is that what you're talking about? Or this thing right here? Are you talking about this thing, this green thing right here? This thing right here? Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about this? Or are you talking about me? Because I'm wearing green too. Okay, so if you're talking about this, that is a coffee cup. That's a shoe rack that I converted into a cup hanger. So that's where I hang cups. That is a wood cup that a guy I met in the what is it? Cochino? Oh, why can't I think of it? The forest in Arizona. That wood cup he built. He made that for me. Oh, there is a propane tank behind my stove. That thing right there, that's the propane tank. That's what that is. That's the propane tank for my stove. I use these little 1 pound refillable canisters. I have a big propane tank outside. Okay, yeah, it is rather bright green. Yeah. No, yeah, it's a small yeah. I have a big 20-pound propane tank outside, and these canisters are refillable. So I did have a stove that was piped into propane over here in my cabinet, like a regular RV stove that was recessed into the cabinet. And it blew up one year while I was trying to use it to heat the bus. It blew up and scared the shit out of me. So we no longer do anything but direct connect propane connections. We don't try to run propane lines anywhere. Oh yes, I got all my snacks. Yes. The stove blew up when I was trying to use it for heat, and I was also having I was like, "Oh my God." It was cold. I had decided to start going north too early in the season, and so I was freezing. The dogs were freezing. I needed to do laundry and couldn't find a laundromat. I was miserable. The dogs were miserable. And yeah, we were at a truck stop surrounded by loud trucks, and I tried to use the because I didn't want to start my wood stove. I have a great wood stove installed in my bus, but I have to connect the pipes and stuff to go outside, and one of my pipes blew off, and so I don't have the end pipe, so I couldn't start my wood stove. So I turned my oven burners on and went in the back in the bedroom. I was in the bedroom with the dogs. I was getting ready to cook, but I had the burners on. And I'm in the bedroom and swoosh, boom, the whole bus rocked back and forth. I was like, holy shit, what the hell was that? It was like the biggest boom. I come flying in the kitchen and there's flames shooting up to the cabinet, shooting up from the stove into the cabinets. And I'm thinking, holy shit, there's a whole drawer full of propane underneath that stove. It's going to blow. I mean, of course, I didn't think, we'll just take the drawer out and it won't be able to blow. No, I didn't think that. I think, oh my God, the whole drawer of propane is going to blow. And so, yes, I do have a P.O. box. I think it should be on my profile unless TikTok erased it again. Um, but anyway, it's on my bio. But anyway, and so I go flying in the back. I grab two shoes that don't match. Don't even have socks on my feet, but I am in sweatpants. Grab the dogs and start screaming at them, get out, hurry, hurry, get out. And I'm grab my purse and my charger and my phone because that shit's important. And at that time, now I have a rear exit, but at the time I only had the front exit. So we were going to have to come up through the flames to get out of the bus. So I'm screaming like a crazy woman at the dogs. The bus is about to blow up any second when that fire hits those propane tanks that are underneath it. And the dogs are freaking out and I'm herding them forward and screaming at them like a crazy woman. And I come around the corner and I look and there's a flame about this big coming out of the stove. It's no longer burning everywhere. It's just got a little flame. I literally just had to lean over and go to blow it out. I thought we were all going to die. We were all going to die in a bus fire. We were going to die or I was going to lose the whole bus. And when I come back around the corner, there's only this much flame and I just have to blow it out. Bus life. Okay. The terror that I felt during those few seconds, right? The terror I felt during those few seconds happens a lot in bus life. Okay. That kind of shit happens a lot in bus life. You really need to have nerves of steel to drive a big bus like this around the country through some of the shit that I took it through. Yeah, it's kind of funny now. It was kind of funny then too. It really was. It was really kind of funny because thank God. And that's just me. I'm like chicken fucking little. You give me a little tiny thing. Well, it wasn't little, okay? The explosion was loud. It shook the whole bus. If I'd been in the kitchen, it would have burned the fuck out of me, okay? It was a fireball. A fireball flew across my bus. That's why the cabinet got all singed and all of that. It was a fireball. But still, oh my God. I forgot what I was going to say. It was funny as hell afterwards because of how I overreacted. And I tend to do that a lot. I overreact a lot. I think it's part of PTSD. Right? Oh, you missed the whole story? Yeah. So nervous I'm going to be close to you all on here. And wait, now we voted. Did you vote, Christina? Okay, great. Yes. I'm so glad that you are here and you are. It is kind of funny, Gel and Glean. It really is. Hi, Rudget Speeders. It was scary, but it's okay. I mean, I had so many times like that. Really scary times. Like one time I was parked in a truck stop. I'm going to be live most of the day because of the election. Yes, I am. I'm going to be live here for an hour. Yay, Gel and Glean. Good for you. Yeah. I've got meds. I need therapy and live videos, right? PTSD and depression and anxiety. That's me. Better living through meds. I got the meds. Therapy. I don't have the therapy, but I do go live. That's part of my therapy, actually. Yes. No, the truckers didn't hear or help me. Those truck stops are really, really loud. So, and it was really cold. It would have taken more than just a noise like that at a truck stop to get their attention. You hear lots of shit like that at truck stops, you know, and so nobody even noticed. One time I was in a truck stop in Texas. It was really hot and I was really miserable, but I like didn't have any I was almost out of money. And I was in a truck stop. I would go to the truck stop there was one truck stop in Texas that I could stay at for like a week at a time. Singed her eyebrows and eyelashes off. Right, right. Oh, Gonzo wants in. Hi, MJ. But anyway, I'm at this truck stop and I was miserable. And I decided I'm going to fix my bookcase that was in the bedroom. Vote blue, vote blue. So I took the dogs outside with me on their leash. Oh my God, I have to let this dog in. I'm never going to get this story told. Ugh. Here, here, here. Needy dog. Come on. Puppy. You're a puppy. Winston is an old man. You are a puppy. Winston is an old man. Oh, you just came over here and slimed my seat. No, you're not getting up here, Gonzo. No. Oh, God. Anyway, I'm back. Yes, we're all stressed out today. Yeah, my medicine, I mean, I'm real thankful for my medicine. You just don't know. And that's the only reason that, you know, if my landlord hadn't given me this place to park where I could use an address and get medicine, I don't know where I would be right now because I was unmedicated and so manic. I mean, just so horribly manic. You just can't even imagine. So I'm real lucky to have gotten this parking spot. But now he's selling the property, so I have to find a place to go. Are you out of smoke? I'm sorry, Deb. Medicine for my PTSD is paramount. It really is. And I don't know what I'm going to do when I have to move because I won't have this address and I won't be able to have medicine, and it's scary. It really worries me. Not for long what? You're out of smoke, but not for long. Okay, Miss Deb. Yeah, I don't take pharmaceuticals for my nerves. I don't like addictive kind of pharmaceuticals. I stay away from those. I would rather take my... Yeah. Okay. So anybody else want to talk about something, or should we just go back to TikTok? Hello? Is anybody there? I know some of you are just listening. You know what? Here's this, honey. I am so fucking done with you. You want a story time? Well, Miss... Damn, not for long. Have Clonopin. I have to. Out of smoke. So what kind of story time? I was going to do story time, but I'm so fucking annoyed right now. So fucking annoyed. Yeah, once you get addicted to that shit, and then they treat you like shit. It's like a whole cycle. I'm going to be flipping through a bunch of channels Yeah, you have to have it now because you're addicted to it, right? Yep. And then because you're addicted to it, you get treated like shit by the people who write the prescriptions, right? I had a doctor in Phoenix, Arizona, try to get me addicted to Oxycontin. He wrote me a prescription to take as needed of Oxycontin that when I went to, I didn't even know what it was. And I went to the pharmacy to get it filled. And it was a bottle that was like this big and this big around of Oxycontin. Okay, Deb, you know what? Here's the thing. Um, there. I'm done. So, I really had to block her on TikTok too. I'm really done with her not being able to control herself in my fucking lives. Um, I'm sorry. I have boundaries. If somebody makes me feel uncomfortable repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again, bye-bye. Buh-fucking-bye. They took a urine sample along with your blood, right? Right, Jellingleen? Because they control you. They've got you addicted, and now yeah, I just really fucking hate doctors for that shit. I really do. The number of people that those fucking doctors have killed. But he gave me, okay, here's a story time. He gave me this prescription. Was this big. Bottle was this big around. I suspected until he did that. I mean, I probably should have known for sure before he did that that he was working his way up to having some kind of a physical relationship with me. I should have recognized that that's what he was doing. But I didn't until he gave me that prescription. And when he gave me that prescription, and the pharmacist looked at me weird when he handed it to me, and I thought, what the hell? It didn't say Oxycontin on the bottle. It said oxycodone. But that's the same thing, right? Oxycontin and oxycodone are the same thing. And so I took the prescription bottle home, and I took one, and I was talking to my brother on the phone, walking across the living room, and my legs, no shit, fell the fuck out from under me. Like I said, hi, you gotta sit down. It knocks you on your fucking ass. I was like, what the hell? This medicine he gave me knocked me on my ass. He's a psychiatrist. He gave it to me for depression. He gave it to me for depression. So, and it was a huge bottle, way more than I needed. So I didn't take it anymore. I'm not taking this shit. I don't know what the fuck he's trying to do, but I kept the whole bottle, right? So when I went to him the next time, actually, when I went to him the next time, I said, that medicine you gave me is for pain. And he said, well, you know, depression causes pain. He gave me a fucking bottle this big of Oxycontin because depression causes pain. I never complained about pain. He was trying to treat me to a big bottle of Oxycontin to win favor with me or to get me addicted. Yeah. He was not a good doctor. He was absolutely not a good doctor. He was a horrible doctor. And ultimately, he had me as a patient. I never took the Oxycontin. But I kept it as evidence. Okay, I needed it as I wanted to show, because I was appalled that I have a prescription on my prescription record of that much Oxycontin. I know, right? Of that much Oxycontin, now I have, because I had a job as an engineer where my behavior and stuff gets looked into periodically because I have a lot of responsibility as an engineer. And so they're going to go look at my medical records to give me my review at work and see I got Oxycontin, that many Oxy fucking cotton. So I kept the bottle to be able to show I didn't take them. I didn't take them. And then he started threatening me that he was going to have me committed and that he could put whatever he wanted in my medical record when they came to do my review, because he knew they were going to do reviews on me. So he was telling me he could put whatever he wanted in my medical record. And then the next visit, when I went to see him, he was in a different room and his secretary escorted me in, and it was a room where he had a television and a couch and a chair. And I sat down in like a kitchen chair. I sat down in like the kitchen chair, and he was laying under a blanket on the couch because he said he wasn't feeling well. So he agreed to see me in that room while he's laying under a blanket. And I'm sitting there, and I paid him. I wrote him a check and handed it to him to pay him. And I'm like, I really want to get the fuck out of here. And his secretary comes to the door and says to him, so-and-so is here. And they were having, I guess there was a patient that was having some kind of a breakdown and he needed to go. He needed to go help this patient who was having some kind of a breakdown in the front office. And he said, oh yeah, I need to talk to him. And I said, I'm sitting there, and he stands up off the couch and lets the blanket drop. And he's in his underwear, his whitey, tidy underwear. He's a psychiatrist. He walked across the room in front of me in his whitey, tidy underwear, put his pants on, looked at me, and said, did you need any refills for your pain medicine? And I said, no, I don't need refills. And he went, oh. And he left the room. My jaw did drop. And the fact that he was pressuring me and telling me about people he had committed. And then he started showing me things in his offices that were gifts, real expensive gifts that patients had given him. Real expensive gifts that patients. He had a ratty office, and he's showing me these real expensive gifts that patients are giving him and telling him, oh, it's so sad. I had to have her committed. I didn't have any choice. I had to have her locked up. And then he's walking across the room naked in front of me, or in his underwear in front of me. I went back to a therapist that I knew, that I had left the therapist to start seeing the psychiatrist because I needed the psychiatrist to prescribe me psych meds. My primary care physician didn't want to prescribe psych meds, so I had to go to this psychiatrist. And I had a therapist when I started going to the psychiatrist. And the therapist, I had to stop seeing him because the psychiatrist wanted to do my therapy. The moral of this story is, if a psychiatrist ever wants to do your talk therapy, fucking run. Psychiatrists are not equipped to do talk therapy. They really aren't. Anyway, so I went back to the therapist that I was seeing before, and I called him and I told him, you need to help. Can you help me? I need help. I have to get away from this man. And I'm terrified. I don't know how I'm going to get away from him. He controls the medicine that I need to stay healthy, and he's threatening me and manipulating me. I had started recording him. I had hours and hours and hours of him on a record. I started carrying a tape recorder with me, a little one, So that therapist told me, he said, okay, I can't believe this. Hang on a minute. And we set up an appointment. I went and talked to him, and when I went in to see him, he had contacted other psychiatrists that he knew around the city. He said, I've got a psychiatrist who will see you. He will see you one time to do an evaluation. And he was actually the very best psychiatrist in Phoenix. He had been voted the #1 psychiatrist in Phoenix like every year for like 10 years in a row. Like the best in all of the Phoenix Valley. Okay. And so he got me an appointment with him. And I went in and saw him and told him the whole story of everything that had happened. And at one point, he got up and walked across the room and sat in a chair that was real close to where I was sitting. Like, I picked a chair that was furthest away from his desk to sit in, okay? I wanted to stay the farthest. I don't trust psychiatrists now. This guy scared the fuck out of me, okay? I picked the chair furthest away from his desk, and so halfway through the hour where I was telling him what was going on, he got up abruptly and walked across the room and sat in the chair next to me. And I had a physical reaction to that shit. It was like I now have Dr. PTSD. You know, as soon as he did that, my whole demeanor, and I was a little surprised actually because I didn't realize. But I absolutely had Dr. PTSD when he did that. And I think that's exactly why. Well, here's the thing. When these motherfuckers like this always pick me to do this shit to, and I'm the last one they ever do it to, all right? It's not the first time some motherfucker like that has picked me to victimize, that I turned that shit around on him. I got victimized when I was young, when I was a teenager, okay? And I'm ready for that shit now. You picked the wrong motherfucker. It happened to me with a professor in school too. I still have the evidence in box underneath my couch. Anyway, so after my visit to that premier doctor, the #1 doctor in Phoenix, I left. And that evening, my therapist, the guy who had gotten me that appointment, called me. And he said, he says that he will take you as a patient to prescribe your medication. I was getting ready to move. I was in the process of selling my house and relocating to New Mexico from Phoenix. And so I just needed somebody to get me through until I moved for my medication and stuff. And then when I moved to my new location in New Mexico, I would change doctors. So it was right at the end of my time in Phoenix that he started really pushing hard. And so he called me back and he said he'll take you as a patient and prescribe medicine until you leave town. But you've got to report him to the medical board. You've got to report him. You have to promise you're going to report him. And so I did. I looked up the medical board in Arizona's website, and I downloaded all the forms that I needed, and I gathered all the evidence that I had been gathering evidence for a couple of months because he had been scaring me for a while, maybe 3 months. You know, he was really pushing hard. And so I gathered all of the evidence. I don't know what you're talking about, Gamer Nico. Anyway, so I gathered all the evidence for what I needed, and I created a big detailed report, you know, and I faxed it to the medical board. And waited and watched the medical board's website, and I didn't hear anything. Nothing happened. So I waited a couple of weeks and I called them and they said, we don't have any record of you faxing us a report. So I faxed it again. Meanwhile, you know, movers, I got a new job in New Mexico. Movers were coming to pack up my house. I was dealing with realtors, all this other shit's going on. I get moved to New Mexico and I call them again. This is like, I reported it like 3 times. And every time I would wait a couple of weeks and see nothing and call them back again and say, what happened to my report? And they would say, we didn't get a report. And finally, the 4th time that they said that to me, I said, okay, I'm going to fax it again. But I want you to know that I have the receipts of the other faxes that I have sent you. And your fax machine has gotten every single fax that I have sent. So the next time that you tell me you have lost this complaint I am going to fax it to the Phoenix newspapers. I am done fucking around with you. And I faxed it to him for the fourth time. That day, 2 hours later, the medical board team, investigation team, was at his office pulling all of his records. That very day, he pled to having a sex addiction and went away to a rehabilitation center in California for sex addiction. That very day. That fucking medical board in Arizona ignored my faxes 4 times. 4 times. Because that's how doctors cover up for each other. That is how doctors cover up for each other. Doctors are never wrong. The world is wrong, not a doctor. Well, no, he didn't get away with it because his license, they didn't revoke his license. His license while he was in the rehab for his sex addiction, his license expired and they didn't renew it. So he was never able, he didn't get that on his, he got sanctioned, okay? And he had sanctions before, but he got sanctioned and he was never able to practice medicine again. But he could, by Jeremiah, but he could have gone to another state and practiced, because that's how fucking doctors cover for each other. It's disgusting. But that, I tell you what, see, this is the thing that made me stick to my guns so much with that, is I know this man is like 60 years old. I'm not the first woman he's done this shit to me. How many people has he gotten addicted to? How many people has he gotten addicted to pain medicine so that he can get sexual favors? I'm not going to let him do it to anybody else. I don't trust doctors when my primary wouldn't see me after a car accident. Wow. Yeah, doctors are, we need medical reform in this country. Horribly, we need medical reform. I have so many scary stories about doctors. It's insane. See, doctors see my eyes, male doctors see my eyes, these weird fucking green eyes, and lose their goddamn minds. It's happened not 1 time, not 2 times, at least 10 fucking times, maybe more. If I haven't ever really counted how many times. And they shouldn't. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Because when they do, they act like they're doing you some kind of favor. Like, oh my God, aren't you lucky? I want to have sex with you. You should be so, they don't even say, aren't you lucky? They just assume you're going to be so excited that they picked you. I picked you. Aren't you happy? It's disgusting. Because when I go to a fucking doctor, I'm going to a doctor because I'm sick. Not because I want to get laid. It's disgusting. Now, I have dated a doctor, and I did learn one thing. Oh my God. If you date a doctor and then break up and you go to a doctor as a patient, do not mention to that doctor casually that you used to date a doctor. Because immediately it seems like they think, oh, this is open season. She must be the kind, that we can get action from in the exam room if she's dated a doctor. No, I didn't meet the guy that I dated in his fucking office. I met him, but not because I was a fucking patient. I was so alarmed the first time it happened. I saw the change in the doctor as soon as I was like, oh my God, I can't tell them. I can't tell them because I'm single that I used to date a doctor, because they're assumed that they're about to get a blowjob. Which time? I'm not though. I'm really not. I'm not that girl. I don't know what girl they're looking for, but I am not that girl. That's right. They come in dozens. Well, I want to tell you, dating a doctor is highly overrated. Unless you're really good on your game. You got to be really good on your game. You got to really know how to play games if you are going to, if you're, you got to be a scrapper if you're going to date a doctor, because I want to tell you, the reason they act like that is because the flood of women that are all over them all the time. Oh, I really am. They don't fuck with me. If you try that shit with me, I'm going to be the last person you try it with. I'm not even fucking kidding. That's not true, honey, because guess what? You're there for a doctor's appointment. You're there because you're sick. No, I never had to have physical therapy, but I was raped by my personal trainer from the YMCA. He was a rich guy, came from a good family. Date raped me. I woke up in the middle of the rape because he roofied me. So my personal trainer at the YMCA raped me. He was a rich guy. He got his karma for raping me. He got married later. He was a college kid and I was a 30-something. No, he's not in jail because he was a wealthy, prominent male in our community from a really good family. His daddy was the Postmaster General, Wichita Falls, Texas. And I was a single mom who owned a daycare. What was I doing out at a bar so that he could give me a ride home to roofie me and rape me? What was I doing, a single mom who owns a daycare? And who are they going to believe? Me or the guy who's in college, whose daddy is the postmaster? All right. I didn't report it. And, but listen to his karma. Listen to his karma, you guys. His karma, right? You just want a body camera, right? Doctors should have to wear body cameras. I don't know. Anyway, listen to his karma. His karma will warm your heart. I might need to grind some more. Yeah, I do. Anyway, so his karma is he was very wealthy and he was from a prominent family in the neighborhood, in the area. And he married well. He married into a family that owned a title and loan company. So he married even better off than his family was. And the way that he married, he had a couple of little kids. This is really kind of sad. But he got a pilot's license in a private plane. And the older woman that had 2 10-year-old children when he married her, now they were teenagers and unruly. And he wanted to send them to a girls' school. They wanted to send their unruly teenage stepdaughter to a girls' school in West Virginia in the Smoky Mountains. And so he decided that with his pilot's license, he was going to put his entire family, his wife, all of their children, and his wife's sister and their family into his plane and fly them to deliver the daughter to a girls' school. But the dumbass wasn't instrument rated in his new fucking plane. And so when he got into the Smoky Mountains, he crashed into the side of the Smoky Mountains and killed every one of them. Don't fuck with me. Okay? I'm talking and nobody is listening to the story. They're just talking about my dogs and himself. Nope, them and himself. They're all dead. They're all dead. And so when I go home to my hometown of Wichita Falls, Texas, what I see are memorials to him. Because when he did that, he was like a martyr and the entire city of 100,000 people mourned his death. 100,000 people minus the women I'm sure he raped, because I'm sure I was not the only one. 100,000 people. They rented out the memorial auditorium and they erected memorials to him all over the city. Yep, because he was a prominent man. Well, they just knew the sad story about, an entire family along with a bunch of children died. But I messaged his mother for the first time since it happened. When it happened, here's the thing. His mother was a teacher, an aerobics teacher at the YMCA. His mother was an aerobics teacher at the YMCA. And I was in her aerobics class. And I was in her aerobics class, and her husband was the postmaster general of the city. And his mother recommended that I go to him for weight training. Okay? His mother. I went to him for weight training, and then I went to, I was out with some friends in a bar, and he was there, and he like grabbed my ass, and I laughed because I was 10 years older than he was. 10 years older. I could not even fathom that this 22-year-old in college was interested in me. I mean, here's the sad part about it. He wasn't ugly. I mean, if he had gone about it the right way, he might have gotten lucky. If he had just put a little bit of effort into it, he might have just gotten lucky. He didn't have to steal it. But we were out at the bar and we were all laughing and I was drinking and my friends wanted to go and he said, oh, we're having fun. I'll give you a ride home. And I was like, okay, y'all go ahead. He's going to give me a ride home. And then it was like in a shopping center with a couple of different bars in it. And in the shopping center, and we decided that we were going to walk over to this other bar in the shopping center. And so we left that bar. And as we're walking across the parking lot, we passed this yellow, badass 60 Corvette with a 1960 something Corvette. It had T-top. It was mint, like perfect. And this was in the 90s. And so as we're walking past it, I looked and I saw it. I was like, oh my God, that's a badass car. And he said, you want to go for a ride? I was like, holy shit. He said, yeah, it's my car. Let's go for a ride. And so I was like, sure. He said, okay, we'll go for a ride. And I'll just drive by instead of going to that other bar. We can just drive by. There was a place that sold beer, a pool hall place that sold beer. You couldn't get beer. Texas is like weird about their alcohol, so you can't get beer in you can't get beer at convenience stores and stuff. You have to go to a liquor store and the liquor store's closed or some kind of shit. Anyway, it was too late to get beer. But it wasn't too late to be in a bar drinking beer. So we went to this pool hall where his friends were, and he went in and ordered a couple of beers for the table that the waitress brought, and then put them under his coat and brought them out. So we each had a beer. That was a mistake. So we went driving out in the country because, you could see the stars in Texas with the T-tops open and this really badass Corvette. Driving out in the country, and he parked and he started kissing me, and I said, no, I really don't want to do this. I knew his family was prominent. I knew that this was not going to go anywhere, and in a small town in Texas, if you do something like that with somebody like that, it's going to go spread like fucking wildfire that you did it. I knew that his dad was the post office general. I knew his mom was my aerobics teacher. I did not want to look at those people after having done this if I were to go, if I were to entertain that, that's a whole lot of stress that I didn't want to deal with. I really didn't. I knew where it was going to go. No place for me, but every place for him. Fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. I said, and I got out and went to the bathroom. And when I got back in the car, he said, okay, I'll take you home. Okay. So we turned the car around and we're driving home. And we get to a red light that's about 2 blocks away from my house. And I 1 second I remember seeing the red light. The next second my head is, I'm out. Like I don't even know what happened after we stopped at the red light. I remember my head going to the window, but that's it. The red light, my head goes to the window because I'm sleepy, and that's the last thing I remember. At the time that happened, we were 3 blocks away from my house. When I woke up, he had reclined my seat and kind of pushed me into the back of the Corvette. So I guess the seat in that Corvette would go down flat. So he had kind of pushed me behind the driver's seat. So I was, you know what I'm saying? And he was having sex with me. I woke up in the middle of the rape, hearing his voice in my ear. I can still hear, oh my God, I can still hear his voice in my fucking ear. But the thing is when you get raped, when you get date raped with a roofie, you're really not sure what happened. Even though I woke up in the middle of it, it's not like I was a virgin and had never had sex before. It's not like I had never gone out to a bar and ended up having sex. I mean, I had a healthy sexual appetite. So doing something like that isn't necessarily something that I hadn't ever done before. So when you wake up from being roofied, you don't really realize what happened. You don't remember that you told him no. And so after it was over and he got back in his seat and put my seat up, he said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I said, what are you sorry for? Because I didn't, I was drugged. And he said, well, you said no. And it was like, I did say no. Fuck, I did say no. And then he took me home. And what the fuck am I going to do? I mean, I should have gone. I didn't even realize that it was a drug that had done that to me right away. You don't realize that you've been drugged. I didn't know I'd been drugged at that point. I didn't know I had drugged. I knew that the last thing I remembered was being at the red light almost to my house. But I didn't know I had been drugged. It takes you a minute for your brain to catch up, to put the shit together, what happened, And by the time that happened, the drug was out of my system and I was just fucked. I never went back to work out at another gym the rest of my life. Not regularly. I would try to join another gym. The next time I went to the Y, I bumped into him in the parking lot. And that's when I realized that I had been raped. Because my reaction to bumping into him in the parking lot, my body freaked the fuck out. I mean, my reaction to seeing him in the parking lot was horrible. And then I went in. I mean, we actually had a conversation and I couldn't look at him. I was dropping things. It was horrible. I went in the Y and his mom was working the counter handing out towels. And she looked up and saw me, and our eyes met across the room. And I know that she knew what he'd done. I know that she knew what he'd done. So after and all my life, I was afraid to report because I was afraid of what would happen to me in Wichita Falls, Texas. I would have been just ostracized. It would have been horrible. But after I went to college, it's funny because anyway, after I went to college and got out of Wichita Falls, because believe me, happiness was Wichita Falls, Texas in my rearview mirror. I always swore that I would watch the news And if I ever saw, oh, thank you so much, Simon. I swore that if I ever saw anyone else accuse him, because I know I wasn't the only one. When you bump into somebody like that that does that to you so easily, you're not the only one they've done it to. So I always swore that if I ever saw that he was being accused by somebody else, I was going to step forward and support them and tell my story, just to be as a corroborating witness. And so I would Google him once in a while after I moved to Washington, graduated college and moved to Washington, D.C. I would Google him. And one day I Googled him, and actually I never found anything at all, but I decided to change the spelling of his last name. His name is Jason Christie, and I was spelling it with a Y, and it's actually I-E. And so I changed the spelling of Christie, and bam, my browser blew the fuck up. And I was like, holy shit, did somebody really, I mean, it was like crazy. And then I realized, I clicked on one of the stories, and it was because he had killed himself. My body remembered the trauma and knew that I'd been drugged. My conscious mind hadn't caught up to my subconscious mind about what had happened. And that's when my browser blew up, and I saw that he had crashed his plane into the mountain and killed his family. And by the time I saw that it had happened, it had actually been a couple of years since it had happened. And so I looked, because I knew that his mother knew that he raped me. I was reading these stories, and I'm seeing about all these memorials being built. Every time I go to my hometown, it seems like there's another fucking news story in the paper about Jason Christie, the guy who fucking raped me with a roofie, so it's pretty disgusting, the amount of love that he was shown after having raped me. So I found his mother on Facebook, and I sent her a message. And I told her, I cannot believe you have all of these memorials to your son, and your son is a rapist, and you know it. And that's all I said to her. And then it was funny because I believe it was last summer in Wichita Falls. I happened to be, actually it was like 2 years ago, I happened to be in the Wichita Falls area visiting a cousin. And so you get to see the local news stories when you're there and here. And they were talking about how a car accident had happened and smashed up one of the memorials to him. And so it was a big news story. Oh, Jason Christie's memorial got smashed up. And they interviewed his mother, and she said, I'm not going to rebuild it. I'm just not going to rebuild it. And that's all she said. And I thought, thank you. Thank you. I don't want to see memorials. I'm going to go shit on your son's grave, Yeah, but his name was Jason Christie, and you can Google it. Wichita Falls, Texas, plane crash, Smoky Mountains. See, don't fuck with me. Okay, I have story after story after story after story of people who try to fuck with me, who get schooled. And I don't ever do it nefariously. Karma, 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 karma. That's right. Oh, you're welcome. I love you guys too. Hi, Kim. Yeah. You're so welcome. But that was when I was in my 30s. That was right before I went to college. You know what's crazy? Like, I don't know, within 3 or 4 years of that rape, actually 3 years, within 3 years of that rape, I was a student at the same university that he was attending when he raped me. Now, as part of my financial aid package from the state of Texas, I got to go see a therapist. And I got a really good therapist who had just graduated from the university that I was attending. He was really fucking handsome too. I swear to God, he was the most handsome man I've ever seen in my life. He was young. He wasn't a man, he was young. But he had just graduated with his master's degree from the university that I was attending. And he was in school in his undergrad when my rapist was still a student. Okay? So I went to him and told him the very last visit I ever had with him, I went to him and told him, I have never talked to you about this before, but I want to get it on record as part of my therapy. I want to get this on record as me telling a therapist. And I told him the rape story. He was the first, Gonzo, no, you just wait. Go on, get somewhere. And so I told him the rape story. And I told him who it was. And then he looked at me. Now, this is a therapist that I had been seeing for 4 years at this point. 3.5 years. I had been seeing him off and on for 3 years. And I went to him and told him this story. And he looked at me and said, oh my God, I think I know him. I know him. Because he went to college with him. We ended the session and I left. The next day I called back to set up an appointment, my next appointment, and was told by the secretary, he's moving. He's not accepting any more patient appointments. He's moving. He left town after I told him that his friend had raped me. He fucking left town and never talked to me about it. Said, oh my God, I know him. And fucking left town. Rich college boys. I want to tell you what, motherfuckers. Rich college boys. Gonzo, hush! Hush. Anyway, I have a story about a professor in college who used to try to do the same shit to girls. I took his ass down too. And that involves the postmaster general, the father of the guy who raped me. I mean, it's like a little town is just so disgusting. I know, right, Simon? It's crazy. Hi, Miss Fine. Okay, you guys, I've been on here for an hour, so let me hang up. And we'll go back. I'm going to let these dogs out and give them a little bit of attention. And then I'll be going live on TikTok again in maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. I have to pour myself another cup of coffee and all of that. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. I want this to start processing. I so enjoy the story times. I am lucky I'm strong, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I don't know why the fuck some of this shit didn't kill me. All right, see you on TikTok. Okay, talk to you guys later. Thanks for being part of the story time.